What does my emergency fund and I guess kind of like my emergency plan look like as a full-time influencer who is responsible with her finances and is also like relatively risk averse? I quit my corporate W-2 job 2 years ago to pursue being a full-time influencer, and it's definitely working out so far. My income has definitely gone up since that period in time, but I'm also not stupid. I know things change. I know my income could go away at any minute. I'll say I do feel relatively stable with my sources of income because I'm not totally dependent on brand partnerships. Brand partnerships are only really around like 50% of my income at this point. So sell my own templates and I make some money off of like affiliate stuff as well. Since starting content creation, both before quitting my job and after quitting my job, I've also had a ton of different freelance marketing roles in this space between like UGC roles, social media management role. With that being said, here's how I structure my emergency fund. So in my personal bank account, I have an emergency fund that right now has around like $20,000 in there. I am buying a house next month, so I do want to increase this emergency fund number up to 30,000. Would also account for some like home maintenance and stuff if anything in my house breaks. That's not the only money that I have sitting there in case of an emergency. So I have a business bank account where all of my income sources flow in for my business revenue. And I have myself on payroll to pay myself into my personal account. That business account also has its own emergency fund. All times I like to have right around $30,000 in my business checking account, which in that business checking account, my payroll comes out of. I also pay contractors monthly and I have business expenses monthly. I like to keep that almost like checking fund of right around like 3 months worth of payroll and expenses. I know that all of my payroll and expenses can always go through. Having that 3-month buffer helps me to feel peace of mind that if 1 month my business revenue is under my business minimum, that minimum being how much I need to make to cover payroll and expenses, then that checking fund would kind of cover it. I personally have never had a month that's under my business minimum, but just in case. Outside of that checking fund, I also have what's called a business peace of mind fund. It has like $10,000 in there right now, and I kind of just like have it in a reserve in my business bank account and kind of forget about it. Why I don't just take that as a distribution and put it into my personal emergency fund and increase that number by 10,000, I don't know. There's really no rhyme or reason for it. But all of that is to say, no matter what your job is, no matter how secure you might feel, it is super important to have an emergency fund.